Hello, good Woch. Tonight we counted 35 days, which is 5 weeks to the Omer, beginning of the sphere of the Yesod. Let's talk a little bit. Uh, okay, we start with the story of Baal Shemtov. It's a bracha for the entire week. It was Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. In the case of the Baal Shemtov, there was one person who had no children, and he used to mention to Baal Shemtov again and again and again to bless him with children. Until one time, Baal Shemtov promised him that he'll have children. He saw that he's getting old, and the bracha didn't come true. So he came again. And it wasn't much, a long time after, his wife gave birth to a baby boy. And after a few days, the baby actually died. Immediately, the person ran to Baal Shemtov made a big to-do, and he said, "Why did you promise me something like this? I have a son immediately after birth dies. Would have been better not to have any son at all." Shemtov said, "I told you already, you'll have children. There's no doubt that your child will be alive." The person waited and waited and nothing doing. So he decided, he didn't know. Baal Shem Tov already told him he's going to have child, the child will be alive. So he decided he's going to the Baal Shem Tov, ask him. He couldn't tell him, he told me he's not getting up. What? He said he's going to go to Baal Shem Tov, ask him whether he should prepare himself for the bris. So he went there and he said to ask the Baal Shem Tov for the reason who should be the sandik. So Baal Shem Tov told him, yes, make the preparation of the bris, and told him a very certain famous person should be the sandik. The day came, they brought the dead baby to the shul, and they mauled him. They looked like cutting dead flesh. And Baal Shem Tov started saying the brachas after the milah. When he said, Kayan Asayel Zela Over Imoy, he took a long time saying it. And suddenly, the soul of the baby came back, and the blood of the bris, started flowing to the point that it actually reached the ceiling of the shul. Hashem Yisborach, the child, came completely to life. This is an astonishing story. People maybe will be inclined to think, okay, it's a story, Yeah. I'll tell you a story that you all know, probably the Ribnitzer Rebbe in Monsey passed away, what is it, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. Now, Chabad Hasidim had was a Chabad Chassid, very famous, very. His name was Mendel Putefas, and Mendel Putefas was famous for his Mesiras Nefesh to spread out Yiddishkeit in Bolshevik Russia. He was sent to Siberia, and this story that I'm going to tell you right now was told by Reb Mendel Putefas in front of 300 Chabad Shalichim. And the story is as follows. He said, I'm going to tell you a story of Tchias HaMesim, of resurrection, that I saw with my own eyes. Reb Mendel Putefas was holding bris and bris milah circumcisions to Jewish babies in Russia under the Bolsheviks. It was totally forbidden. And he was very close with the Ribnitzer, Zichron Livrocha. So one day, one of the police officers, higher up, was a Jew. His wife gave birth to a boy, and his wife told her husband that she wants to have the baby circumcised. You can understand, a regular person, how much more so a police officer. Simsofi agreed, and she got the help of Mendel Putefas, and they made the bris. And the Mendel Putefas invited the Ribnitzer Rebbe to be the sandak. And Mendel Putefas was the moil. There's a story that he said. And he gamaled the baby, and the baby bled, and the bleeding would not stop. And the baby died. Now, Reb Mendel Putefas was devastated on many fronts. This is the baby of a high police officer in Stalin's police. And the officer himself did not want the child to be circumcised, but his wife coerced him to. You can imagine the fallout from this would be totally unbelievable. So he asked the Rebbe, what are we going to do? So the Rebbe told him, just give me the baby. He took the baby, and he covered up with the talus, and told Mendel Putefas, just leave the room. And he left the room. And then the Rebbe opened up the door and gave him the baby. The baby was alive. And Mendel Putefas told this story to Shluchim of Chabad. We're talking to somebody that was alive, past 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Somebody from our generation that resurrected the baby. How much more so? Talking about Baal Shemtov, the baby that was already dead for, I suppose, like 8 days. The one thing that we cannot comprehend is that for tzaddikim, life and death are both their domain. This is their domain. They're working while alive and they're working while dead. Last week we learned Likutei Halachos about Shimon Bar Yochai, that is dafka during his death, celebrating the day of his passing. Dafka, the day of his death, such a simcha, because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai signifies awakening, life, and resurrection. The tzaddikim, while they are dead, not just, completely dead, but even, when they're coming down from Tzei Madrega in order to deal with us, it's considered like sleep by them. And we know that sleep is 1/60th of death. So it's a certain medicum of death. The avodah that they do while dead or while asleep is to come down to our Madrega and to elevate us up. This is Tchias HaMesim. This is Kepshutoi resurrection. Whatever it is that the Rebbe is doing with us is Pashut, simply resurrection. Nothing less. We learned today in Pashas Emor that the Kohen, if he's Tama, he touched Sheretz or whatever it is, so he has to toivel, he has to go to the mikvah, and he's already pure, but he still cannot eat kosher, he can still not eat from the offerings. He needs that the sun will set, Aref Shemesh. The Lashon HaPasuk was Uba Shemesh. The sun came. In other words, the sun settled. And Nosson says in Likutei Halachos as follows: Aref Shemesh, the sun setting, signifies the end of a person's life. And according to how much a person is invested during his life to purify himself, everything comes together after the last day. The last day of a person, all his deeds, all his good deeds, all his good thoughts, all his efforts to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu come together. And this is his schar. Then he becomes pure, because death, leaving this world purifies a person. And then he's able to eat b'kodshim. He's able to enjoy the fruits of his labor. If a person lives this world as if nothing happens, just passing the time, not even trying, when his sun is going to set, you're going to be, you have to go through whatever it is that you have to go through. Now, I want to make it clear. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not a speed limit that you have to reach that speed, and not above that it's okay, or not, whatever. The thing is, the Kodesh Baruch Hu knows, tzaddikim know, every person, where he was born, what's his predicament, what he can do, what he cannot do, what is considered for him to do, to work, to do everything that he can, and what it is for him, just letting go and not caring about anything. So there's no rule of thumb in any way, shape, or form that says what is considered working, what's considered. A person should wake up every single day, even if the end result is not what the person wished for. You tried and you worked and you did, and Lamaisi didn't go. A person can go through life feeling like he's failing at all times, at any given moment, non-stop. It's not your choice. It's not your judgment. What is considered that you did it or you didn't do it, or you need to do what you can at every given moment in time. And in lieu of that, if a person doesn't know how and what it is that he could do or couldn't do, the main thing is that Ramchal said that latch yourself onto the tzaddik. When you are holding on to the tzaddik, whatever it is that you do, if you do it and you really mean to do it, and you start it again and again, and you start again and you start again, every day, or whenever it is that you find that you can, the tzaddik will pull you out. This is the cornerstone of what life is. Hold on to the tzaddik, because the tzaddik is Mechayim Esim. The tzaddik rejuvenates and resurrects the dead. Sigh spiritual death. They are in this world, but they're really dead, because the Rishoyim Mechayim Kurim Chaim. I'm Kurim Esim. And sigh if a person, once he's already leaves this world. Rabbeinu said that to rectify the souls of the departed is much easier, because the departed already do exactly what you tell them to do. So people alive, things are more difficult. But we should know we have this koyach, we have this power, we have access to this. Let's take a quick look at the Sichos Haran for this week. Very short, very to the point, very negea to what it is that we are speaking about. It's 274. The 274, 275 basically are one sicha. So it's very good for a person should have a special room for him alone to be osek there in avodas Hashem. Especially it's beredus and speaking to Kodesh Baruch Hu. For this, for sure, you need a special room. Rabbeinu said that even sitting alone in this room, even you're not doing anything, this is also good. Even if you're not zeicher to have a special room for that, you can still be misbeided and speak between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbeinu Zechon said that even under the talis, you put the talis all over your head, it's also a cheder miyuchad. It's considered a special room. Because when you put the talis over your eyes, you can speak between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you can be misbeided, you can speak your heart out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you can do this while you're, sleeping on your bed, covering yourself with a sheet. That's what David HaMelech used to do. I melt down every single night in my bed. Because you can also sit by a sefer, sit and learn. Everybody will think that you're learning. And then you can speak between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's all kinds of tricks that you can use to somebody who really wants to do this conduct of his Beidudus, which is oile alakol. It is higher and greater than anything. This is the yesod, this is the root and the shorish of the kedusha and the tahara and the tshuva. As however, if at all possible, should have a special room for that. First of all, this particular sicha is very explicit. The Rebbe says before us what it is that he means. But the gist of what we're talking about is your business is avodas Hashem. Your business is to speak to Kodesh Baruch Hu, to bring everything to Kodesh Baruch Hu, put it on the table, and talk to him about it. This should be your business. Some people's business is, I don't know, touring the land or whatever it is. Your business should be avodas Hashem, and start every day anew. Rabbi Chesed Zecher Tzaddik Livrocha used to say, the Yetzer Hara, the Samachmem, can deceive a person throughout the entire Torah. You can think that you're learning, you're really not learning. You can think that you're davening, you're really not davening. You can think you mean well and really you're doing the opposite. The entire Torah, he can deceive you any way, shape, or form, except on this thing. begin anew. Begin again now. Now start all over again right now. If it doesn't work, you start again. If you doubt it work, you start again. If it doesn't work, you start again. Every single day, you start again. Rabbeinu said that there were days that he started again 1,000 times during one day. Doesn't work, okay, you start again. Okay, doesn't work, so you start again. It doesn't work, so you start again. Your business is starting again. Your business is never taking your eyes off HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I want to serve you. I want to get close to you. Hold on to the tzaddik and do what you can, B'ezrat Hashem. After 120 years, you will reap the rewards, B'ezrat Hashem. Hashem should help us. We should have a fantastic week. And B'ezrat Hashem, this week is the week of the Yesod. So bevadai, that's the main thing, the most important thing is the Shmir Sabris, is the sanctity of the eyes and the machshav and everything. All this is that's the main thing. This is what it's about. Hashem should help us, B'ezrat Hashem. Zoicha to a good week. And today is Malchus, Malchus Shebehod. And B'ezrat Hashem, let's do what we need to do. There's nothing else to it. The secret of good life, the secret of life, of resurrection, of living forever. What else do you need? Call to a good life. Hatzlacha Rava.